Hello everyone, welcome back to the News Good. Today we are launching our latest show on our channel, Africans Abroad, the show where we bring you inspiring journeys of Africans who have lived and thrived outside the continent. Now it is undeniably almost every African's dream to travel abroad. I mean, from childhood, the other part of the world has been portrayed as a land flowing with milk and honey. But is that truly the case? Is life truly easy and better over there compared down here? These and many more questions and assumptions that this show is here to expose to you. So stick and stay with us on this journey. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so and let's get started. My name is Angela Deladem Kufo, your host for the show. Conversation is just getting started. I am seated at the residence of Mr. Nii Frederick Amoo Doodo. Mr. Frederick, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Now, let's start from the scratch. Who are you? Who is Mr. Frederick Nii Amoo Doodo? Something brief about you.
I was born in 1964.
Okay.
My parents are Victoria Yuyonate and Mr. Daniel Doodo Amoo.
Okay.
I was baptized in the Methodist Church around Asafa-Chenete Road in Accra.
Okay.
I attended my first 3 years school at Palladium Daycare Center. Then later, when I was 6 years, I moved to St. John's Grammar.
Okay.
St. John's Preparatory School.
Preparatory school.
Yeah. First they were in the grammar school and they moved in 1970 to Aloboshin, that's close to Achimota.
Okay.
After completing there, I went back to St. John's Grammar in 1978.
Okay.
Then I completed my Form 5 O-level exams in 1983. Then after school, I stayed with my uncle who introduced me to printing.
Okay.
He was working as a proofreader with the Presbyterian printing press. So I was there as an apprentice compositor. So I did a bit of printing during my early stage after school.
Okay.
So after school, I did also a bit of insurance because that uncle of mine was an insurance person.
Okay.
So he did a bit of insurance with me before he took me to the printing press. I was laid redundant in 1991.
Oh.
So I was paid off. The money that I had to go to a Y Junction to buy some African carvings. And then I started some African carvings. And then I met a friend of mine who introduced me to somebody who was in the African arts business, but he was not really deep into it. So I met this person around Watu in Accra. So he asked me if I have more. I said yes, I have more in my warehouse. So he took me to the warehouse and then finally he bought all the carvings there.
That's wonderful.
So then he asked me if I could be his business partner. Apparently it comes from the Netherlands.
Okay.
So we made some carvings and we were able to box them and then we send it by the plane to the Netherlands. So he went, he sold them, and then he called me and he said he has sold 3 of the 4 boxes I sent and he was going to send me a car. And that time it was Nissan Pony. Way back, Nissan Pony. So I drove my first car in the year 1994. And then he sold the last one, and then he bought me a scooter.
Okay.
So the scooter arrived, and then I started using it. Later on, the whole idea came about how expensive the flight was, so that now we can use the ship to get the things to Holland. So I sent the first container. I suggested to him that I wish I could be there so that I can clean and repolish them again before he takes them to the market. Then he said, okay, that's best, so that I cannot employ other people to be doing those things. So then on my birthday, he took me to Holland. And I spent 45 days taking care of the items that we took.
Okay. All right. Now let's go a bit more religiously. Do you practice any religion? Are you associated with any of the religions that we have established in the world now?
Well, in the beginning, I told you I was baptized at the Methodist Church.
Okay.
So I was born into the Christian religion. And when I was 22 years, 22nd of December 1986, I became a Buddhist.
Whoa.
Yes.
A Buddhist?
Yes. So I've practiced Buddhism up to now, and I think it's about 38 years or so.
Wow.
Yes.
So how has the lifestyle been for you? What inspired it in the first place?
Well, I think there was this verse in the one of Shakespeare's book. Was it Julius Caesar?
Julius Caesar.
I think when he was murdered by his friend Brutus, and Antony was coming to give that speech. He said, the evil that man do lives after them. The good is left to something rot in their bones, or something like that. It fell on me to be looking at the world around that verse. So then I thought about the law of karma. It works very much to me. And I said, okay, which other religion that really practices the law of karma? And then I chose Buddhism.
Buddhism practices the law of karma.
It has one of its principles as the law of karma.
Okay.
That is, do unto others that you want others to do unto you. Love thy neighbor as thyself.
Okay.
As the Christians would put it. But I hardly discuss religion because I know it's the opium of the mind. So my life is Buddhism. Your life is Christianity. As much as we can better the world, that's okay.
The goal is to better the world.
It's to better the world.
Exactly. Mr. Frederick, now let's talk about when you landed into the new world, from Ghana to Netherlands. What was your first impression when you landed at the airport?
Well, June was a bit of summer.
Okay.
So I had a bit of the African weather with me. And we took the Ghana Airways before it went bankrupt. So I landed in Düsseldorf, which was about a few kilometers from the border to the Netherlands.
Okay.
So my sponsor took me from Düsseldorf, that is in Germany, and drove me to Roosendaal. And Roosendaal in the Dutch language is rosewood.
Rosewood.
Yeah. Or it looks like a farmer's area. Yeah. So my first impression was, I started seeing some nice things.
Nice
things. Like Chini Jonas would say,
okay.
Grass and wine, that kind of. Really, it's true. And we drove about an hour and a half to Roosendaal. So then I went home with my sponsor. I met the wife and the children. So I had to take my bath first, and I had some meal, and then I had to rest.
What was your first meal?
You know, it was potato and mashed potato and
potatoes.
some veg.
Vegetable.
Yes, I must be very honest. Potato and mashed potato and vegetables wasn't my style.
Exactly, you're a Ghanaian man with kinky and the banku.
So it was a bit difficult, but I took it on because I said, okay, in the next 45 days, I'm going to be on this. So I just took it like that.
You took it like that, no disappointment.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. Now you made mention of Chinny Jonas.
Yeah.
That man has been painting a very bright picture of the United States and other parts of the world. So you agree with him that the other parts of the world is very nice and better than over here?
Well, I would agree with him, but it's a state of mind.
State of
the people living in that particular environment, because they have been trained to keep things the way it is, the way they met it. So I think we can also do it here in Ghana if we are able to change our state of mind towards making things look neat.
Mr. Frederick, now culture shock. Many people have expressed devastating cultural shock when they go abroad, experiencing a different lifestyle and culture. What was that moment for you when you saw something that felt like, no, this is not what I'm used to? What was that moment for you?
One thing I can always remember very well is when I went to the Netherlands.
The Netherlands?
Yes. That is, we call it Holland.
Okay.
But it's Netherlands. I saw that some of the culture here is accepted. Some of the culture that we don't accept here are accepted there.
Okay.
Especially there was this issue of mercy killing.
Mercy killing?
Yeah. If I have to explain what mercy killing is, you can tell your doctor to
kill you. On
and
what basis?
And it's a law.
It's a law.
Yeah.
At any point in time, you can tell your doctor to kill you.
Yes, I think they are arranged between your family and that kind of thing, and they can do that mercy killing. It's accepted in the Netherlands. That was one culture shock to me.
Okay.
The second one was drugs.
Drugs.
Yes. They have a coffee shop that you can go there and smoke, and you are allowed even hard drugs to be sold in a coffee shop. But they have their limits.
Okay.
And anytime you see the police entering a shop, means they have had an info that they are selling more than their limits. The hard drugs.
Not that they are selling, but they are selling more than their limit. Okay.
And that is the second culture shock, because here in Ghana, you cannot sell our Indian
publicly.
The last one has to do with the issue of gays and lesbians. And you have a word, what's the word?
LGBTQ+.
That word, yes. That came a bit later. Recently.
Yes.
But in Holland, it's allowed. It's allowed.
Legally binding.
Yes. And I think that there was this law in 1997, 98 that allowed two people of same sex to live together. I'm not very sure of the year, but I know it's between 1997 and 1998.
Okay.
That legally a man and man can stay in one place, a woman can stay in one place.
They can stay in one place.
Yes.
And also marry.
they marry. Is allowed.
Okay.
Is allowed in the Netherlands. And the flip side, prostitution is allowed in Holland.
Whoa.
Yes.
Prostitution?
Yes. Both female and male.
Gigolos and prostitutes allowed.
They are allowed.
That's interesting.
It comes to the culture shock. But now in my life, it's no longer a shock to me. Because who dare you talk about it or discriminate? Because you work with them, they are your teachers, they work in the restaurant, you know, they work in the shops. What can you do about it? You have to accept it. I know a lot of people don't accept it, but in order for you to integrate in the new country that you are in, you got to understand their culture, live with it.
That's true.
Yes. And one thing that people talk about Holland is, everybody who goes to Holland will say, oh, let me go to the red light district. The red light district is in the center of Amsterdam.
Okay.
You know, when you get out of the train station, then that's the red light district.
Okay.
Yes. Prostitution,
goes on
everything. They sell drugs, soft ones, hard ones. But like I said, they are licensed to.
They are licensed.
Yes.
The prostitution.
They are also licensed.
And they pay taxes as a prostitute.
They do.
Wow.
They do. Yes, that's the culture shock that I can always put across.
Okay.
Now, I accept it just the way it is.
Because you've lived among them.
I have lived among them.
Okay.
Personally, when it comes to the passage of this bill,
the LGBTQ plus bill,
for me personally, I don't see it as a problem.
Why not? You're already accustomed to the tradition.
The reason is whether we like it or not, it has existed way back. When we have lived with it in the past, why can't we accept it now?
I mean, the African society doesn't accept it. People who do it in Africa do it in secrecy.
Yes.
But this...
I think personally, it has to be the same way as it's in secret.
It should be done in secret.
That's how I say it.
Allowed to be practiced
outside.
Outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we can't stop it.
Exactly.
Just that we cannot stop people from smoking in their end. But you have to regulate it. There are two adults who choose to do whatever they want to do in their room. But the point is, if two intelligent adults are doing something private in their room, why do they want to bring it outside?
Exactly.
Yes, that is what the system goes against.
But they also want to practice. They also want to practice their sexuality outside, like go out to pubs and have fun, like a normal female and male couple would want to do.
That is why the African culture doesn't accept it. Nobody cares what you do in your room with your partner. Nobody cares. Why do you want to bring it out?
Free. To be free.
We haven't got to that point.
Africa hasn't gotten to that point.
Yeah, we haven't got to that point where we can do it so publicly. You know, it brings hatred in the real sense, especially with those, you know, religion comes in then.
Exactly.
When religion comes in, and you know religion also is the opium of the mind, then that whole idea of hatred pops in. They start killing them and that kind of thing. So me, I feel that it's already there. Don't make it public because you are too intelligent human beings. Do it the way you want it, but don't bring it out.
Outside.
Bringing it out brings the problem. Of late, I see them change the whole idea to wearing female clothing. It's okay.
Wearing female clothing.
It's okay.
Makeup and wigs.
It's okay.
Talking like them. And
there is nothing wrong with it. Can you tell me a female clothing and a male clothing?
Yeah, I mean, there are some specific clothes that have been designed for men. We have shirts that are for men and shirts for women.
That's it. So let it happen that way.
It should happen that way.
But my best advice is to adults doing their own thing. Please don't bring it out. We don't want to know.
Okay.
Simple. We don't want to know.
You heard Mr. Frederick. Two adults doing things. Two intelligent adults doing their thing. Don't bring it out. Stay indoors with it.
Because we don't want to know.
We don't want to know. Exactly. Tell us about your integration. How did you adjust to the whole new environment?
Well, I was in a house one Wednesday, I remember very well, that I received a letter from the Home Office. We call it Gament.
Gament.
Yeah, Gament or Start Office.
Okay.
That is, we can call it like AMA Office.
Accra Metropolitan Assembly.
Yes,
okay.
that's how
In
it is,
Germany.
because you have every details of yourself in there. So the moment they send you a letter, they know who you are.
Okay.
So then they said I had to go to school to learn the Dutch language. Well, it was a shock to me because that is not what I was expecting.
Okay.
But well, I felt a bit homesick, and the reason is I had my 2 children back home. So I started feeling that, hey, let me come and visit them. So that was a point in my life, in my journey, that I felt very uncomfortable. And I spoke it to my sponsor and the wife, and they said, okay, if I want to visit, because then I had spent about 1 year, you understand, and 1 year I don't eat African food because there was no African market around Rosendal. It looks like a village. You know, in that we call it drop.
Drop. Village.
D-O-R-P, I think. It's a village. So you hardly see black people in that community.
Really?
Except those who have seek the asylum that you can always see around.
Okay.
And they, because of their schooling, they come to school and then they leave to where they are settled. So then we wrote a letter to the government, and they said, okay, they are going to give me 6 months to be able to come back to the school.
Okay.
So within these 6 months, it was also an opportunity for me to come back to Africa, get some more African carvings, bronze statues, masks, so that I can send it back there, because when we sell, I get a lot of money. So I was much interested in it, not in the school.
In the school.
So I came back to Africa with my sponsor, and then we traveled to Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger to get the bronze statues, because that is where they produce it. So we were able to fly some of them to Ghana, and then we put it in the container.
Okay.
That was this period that I asked permission to come back to Africa. So then I returned after, I think, 3 months, and then straightforward I went to school.
Which school?
A Dutch school.
A Dutch school.
Yeah. It's about 5 minutes drive from where I live.
Okay.
So I sometimes can bike to that place or take a car, and then, but normally I bike, just a kind of exercise.
Okay.
In the Netherlands, they hardly drive. You see a lot of people with bicycles.
Okay.
That's what, the moment you step out of the airport, everybody is on his bike.
That's wonderful.
You know, that's
environmentally friendly.
That's something I like about the Netherlands.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So learning the language, how was it difficult for you?
My teacher was an Englishman.
Englishman.
Yes.
Okay.
And he told me straight, he said, Frederick, don't translate the Dutch language into English or English into Dutch.
Okay.
Learn the Dutch the same way you listen and listening to people talk.
Okay.
You don't need translation. If you do that, you cannot pick the real Dutch language. And you should also not listen to people speak on the street. Because some of them, when you listen to what they are saying, has too much Flemish language in it, because we are very close
To the border.
to the border town of Belgium.
Okay.
And that became a shock to me. So then I spoke to my teacher, who happened to cheat me in St. John's Preparatory, to send me some books, because he was a translator. So then he sent me Dutch books translated into English, English translated into Dutch. So if I still have the books with me.
Okay.
Yeah, but my teacher is dead. He died last year.
May so rest in peace.
Yeah, I remember very well, Uncle Tony Berich. So that was that message from my teacher. So the moment I started learning the language, I had this in mind, not to listen to those people speak on the street. And then I started speaking the way the Dutch speak.
Okay. So let's see, how do we say thank you in Dutch?
Bedankt.
Bedankt. Bedankt.
Or thank you well.
Thank you well.
Yeah.
That sounds like English thank
Yes. But you don't need to translate.
you. Okay.
It is thank you in English, thank you well.
Thank you well.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's amazing. All right. So when you came back to Ghana for that 6-month period before going to school, you mentioned of going to Mali and Cote d'Ivoire to get some carvings. Now I'm bringing them back to Germany. Was it Germany or Netherlands?
The Netherlands. Yeah.
How did you set up your business over there?
Yeah, my friend has already set up the business, because
He had set up the
he has
business.
set up the
Okay.
business. He goes to sell in markets. So we discussed that sometimes when you sell in the market, they would always want to know where your wholesale is or where your shop is.
Okay.
So straightforward, my sponsor bought a house close to the train station, which means that we will have a lot of people coming over, walking on the street.
In and out. Yeah.
So that is where we started the whole thing. So when we sell at the market, and then after school, when it's 2 o'clock, I open a shop, and then I wait for customers to come, and then I sell the craft. Honestly, selling the craft make me a bit, in Ghanaian term, rich. Yeah, because
I like the sound of that.
I could buy a carving for, let's say, 20 cedis, a small carving for 20 cedis, and then I could double it 20 times.
Whoa, 20
Yeah.
times.
I could buy 20 cedis and I could sell it for about, let's say, 200
So you can.
cedis.
So you said there was a ready market for African art.
There was ready market.
Wow.
Yeah, way back 20 years ago, there was a big market for it.
Okay.
There was a big market for it.
Although there was markets, did you face any personal attacks in terms of racial discrimination, selling those things? Although there was markets for it, but you as a person selling it, did you face any racial discriminations?
Honestly, I would be very blunt here. I never faced anything like that.
Never.
Never.
Wow.
Never.
Would it be because of your complexion?
No, I think I was living in a community made up of Dutch people. You understand? And for a Dutch person to accommodate
Your sponsor was a Dutch.
was a Dutch.
Okay.
For him to bring me in that community means that
You were already welcomed.
I'm already welcome. And then some of them wanted to speak English, but my sponsor warned me not to speak English with them. Other than that, it will be very difficult for me to pick the Dutch language. That was the advice from my sponsor. I said, if you want to learn the Dutch very fast, don't speak English with them. They will pick the English, they don't give you the Dutch.
So you speak Dutch with them?
I speak Dutch with them. Even if I make some mistakes, they said, you said the right thing by the pronunciation. But I know I didn't say it right. Just to encourage me, said, you said the right thing, but you have to pronounce it this way. This
is so much unlike the French, you know. They'll really rebuke you if you mispronounce a word or give them some accent which is not theirs. I have a lot of friends who are in France, and then they have given that opinion about French, who are always ready to rebuke you, knowing that you are still learning the language, but they will always rebuke you. So I think it's a plus for the Dutch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now on the financial side, you lived in Ghana for a while before going there. So how was the cost of living in terms of electricity, water? How did you manage all those things, comparing it back to Ghana here?
Yes, my first 1 year to 2 years, I was under the sponsor, and I don't need to feed myself because I'm not working.
Okay.
I'm schooling, so he was taking care of me. And honestly, because sometimes we sell the craft, it gives me a commission. Some of the commission could be 50%.
50%?
Yes. The reason is he knows how much I buy it, and he knows how much profit we make on it. So that's why he gives me 50% on it. So I was making money whilst I was in the craft business.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so aside your sponsor and his wife, did you join any African community or any other community while you were there?
In Roosendaal, I had no friends there.
Okay.
But in Amsterdam, that's the capital, not the administrative capital. The administrative capital is Den Haag. Den Haag. The Hague. The Hague.
The Hague. Okay.
Den Haag is a Dutch pronunciation, but the Hague is the English pronunciation. Yes.
Okay.
So I had friends that I got in touch with from Ghana, living in Amsterdam. So sometimes on the weekends, I could go there and then eat some fufu, kenke, and that kind of. That was after a year and a half. Then I started getting in touch with the Ghanaians that lived in Amsterdam.
Now let's move on. Let's go back to Netherlands. After in your trade of the African carvings, did you venture into any other business again?
Well, I had a training to be in the hospitality industry.
Hospitality industry.
I had a diploma in cleaning and laundry.
Okay.
So after the breakup of my African art business.
Your African arts business broke down.
Yeah, it broke down.
Okay.
Because I felt that I had to move on.
Okay.
And at that time I had my Dutch nationality. So I said, okay, let me move back home and establish a business. And I came home and started the the cleaning business.
Okay.
I did it for about 10 years.
10 years.
In and out. I was going to Europe and coming back, going to buy chemicals and machinery. Till I finally said to myself, okay, let me relocate to the United Kingdom. So in 2013, I relocated to UK. And there I started my life there. And then I found that I should change the career again. So I went to take an exams to be, how can we say it, mental health facilitator.
Okay.
So I went through that course and became a mental health facilitator. I was dealing with people with mental health, let's say autism,
okay,
Down syndrome. There is this other one, which is normal.
Schizophrenia. Schizophrenia.
Schizo is also there.
Okay.
But there is this one, which is very normal.
Bipolar.
People who has bipolar too.
Okay.
So that is what I am doing now till I came over for the holiday.
Oh, okay.
So when I return back to Europe, I'll still go to that field and continue my career.
No, so you're currently on vacation.
I'm on vacation.
All right. So how long have you been a mental health facilitator?
About 4 years now.
4 years now.
Yeah.
Any plan to retire soon?
Probably I could make it by the close of the year or the first quarter of next year.
By the end of this year? Next
By the
year?
end of this year or first quarter of next year.
Okay.
But I'm going to retire in the Netherlands.
In the Netherlands?
Yes, yes.
You are practicing there too?
No, I want to retire there.
You want to retire there?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you have other plans when you move to Ghana?
When I come back to Ghana, honestly, I have a printing press here.
Okay.
And the most difficult aspect of Ghanaians moving down here to make business is the trust and loyalty among the workers. And sometimes it discourages us to go back again. But you have to be strong. The economy is also a factor. So you have to be strong in those areas to be able to stand the heat and stay.
Okay. On that trust issue, let me chip in this. You know, there are some stories of Africans abroad who send down money to their family members or friends to have some facilities like a house or a business done for them. After so many years, they come back and they realize there's nothing like that. Have you experienced that before?
I haven't experienced it because any project that I want to do, I fly in and do it
Yourself?
myself.
Okay.
Spend some time. Let's say if I have to spend 3 months to do it, 6 months to do it, I do it. Well, I lost a lot when I leave Europe, but it's for me the best thing to do, so that you don't have issues with your family, friends about trust issue.
Now, looking back on your journey, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned about living abroad?
I think I have 3 that I could discuss.
Share them with us.
The first one was when I had to go to school again.
Okay.
And I would have to chip in these words, if they're from Plato or Aristotle, one of these
Philosophers.
He said an unexamined life is not worth living.
Yes.
So I got myself involved with this message around me because I didn't take school serious when I was in Ghana. After Form 5, I felt that I must work a bit around the stream. So I threw books away. But after years that I have to go back to school again, I remember when I sit in the classroom and then I get that flashes about not taking education serious. I remember again when I had to cry in the classroom when it was exams.
You cry?
I cried.
Because of exams?
Yes.
Why?
Because I have not really felt the need
To go to school?
to go to school.
Whoa.
And that was my first exams. Because I was joking even with the lessons, because I was feeling that after all, this what I'm doing is not important. But when I realized that these exams would take me to the next level in my stay in Europe, then that was when the tears came. So if I have to give any youth an advice, it is to take education serious. Because an unexamined
life it's not worth living.
It's not worth living.
Okay.
That's very important. Also, I also wish I had in my mind what I supposed to do when I went to Europe. I felt that people come back with a lot of money, mansions, cars, and that kind of thing. But when I got there, it was a bit difficult. Nobody should think it's easy there. You have the culture, you have the food, you have the environment, you have the weather to take care of when you go there. All these things will have to be factored in before you even think of traveling. That is why a lot of people are in Europe. They stay 5 years, 10 years that they don't even come. Because they don't have their papers to work. All these things add up to why we have to be serious in what we are doing here as an individual. Because you won't find it easy as you think it is.
Okay.
And just to shorten it, some of us who travel there don't come back to say the true story. It's just like in the Akan proverb we say, or in the Ghana proverb we say, Bobiloi Dwa Eba Dwan Sunday.
Meaning?
An hunter does not say what happens in the forest.
Okay.
So we as Ghanaians or we as Africans, we have taken it upon ourselves when we travel. We don't say all the stories.
Just the glamorous part.
Yeah.
I see. So if you could do it all over again, would you choose Netherlands and the UK or any other part of the European world?
I have no regrets in my life. The reason that I'm saying I have no regrets because I've learned from those things that made me feel I regret. If I have a chance to live again, first thing is to really educate myself. That gives me a picture of where I want to go. Every part of the world I can survive because of education.
Okay.
So my advice to people who want to travel is to be educated well, so that you can be able to fit into the system in Europe. If you don't have good education, you cannot really fit in there. That is my advice.
You heard that. To move abroad, the first thing that you should prepare for is education. You should get a good education before you move abroad. All right, Mr. Frederick.
So that you can fit into the system.
Yes, so that you can fit into the system very well. Now, do you see yourself returning to Africa very soon, full time?
Yes, and I had this idea to return slowly. After my first business, that's the cleaning and laundry business, was one step that I took. After some years, I took another step of having a printing press. So in my next journey is to also go into farming.
Farming?
Yes. That's where I can settle my mind.
Okay.
So I'm making up my mind to come and retire by the close of this year or first quarter of next year.
Okay.
And to go into farming.
Yeah. But having done many jobs in the Netherlands and in UK, what lucrative jobs would you advise Africans to do when they go there?
I think I told you the basic point is education. Because it makes you fit into the system. And in Europe, if you fit into the system, cleaning, being a chef, laundry job, cleaning the street are first point of call to make you survive. The second point is to use education to climb.
Okay.
Because you cannot always be a cleaner, you cannot always be a janitor. You have to move on in life because life is open.
Yes.
So, like I said, education is the core for you to fit into the system. So, if you start as a dishwasher, cleaner, and other jobs that is there, education will make you move a bit further and fit into the system.
Okay.
I think I've answered it.
You have. You have. Thank you so much. Now I have some amazing gentlemen who are watching this show. So I want you to advise them in terms of life partners, finance, and women in general. A man who has the experience in all of that. What would you tell your younger self or younger men watching you? What advice would you give to them?
The question again.
For young men who are now coming up, as a man who has lived many lives and done so many jobs, you have the experience in finance, life partners, and all those things. What advice would you give young men who are now coming up in terms of career, money, and women?
You see, there is a generation gap between myself and this youth.
Yes.
And my best advice, as I've been talking to you during our interview, is education first. Because when you are educated, it gives you a broader idea about the world around you. You choose to drink, fine by me. Choose to womanize, fine by me. If you want to drink, whatever vices you want to do, education is very important. Because in educating yourself, you come to that philosophical word, an unexamined life.
It's not worth living.
That's it. Because I can't tell any of you to stop drinking, humanizing, and any other thing. All I can tell you is when you are able to educate yourself, you have a broader mind about the world around you. So the choice is yours to spend your life drinking, humanizing, and whatever it is. But please, education is the best.
Okay.
Let's keep to education. In which other way possible for us to live our life?
Thank you so much. I hope you heard that. Education first. Education is everything. Now we are about to close docket on this inspiring journey of Mr. Frederick Nii Amoo Doodo. I honestly love the whole conversation, the insights, the knowledge and wisdom that you have poured. I've taken a lot from it, and I hope our viewers have also taken something from it. But once again, thank you, Mr. Nii Amoo Doodo. Would you have any final words for our viewers?
Live your life and be happy. Live it one day at a time.
You heard it all. Live your life and live it at the best. Yes. Thank you once again.
And always one day at a time.
One day at a time. Thank you for having us in your beautiful home. The lessons, like I shared, were very insightful and inspiring, and we are very much happy that you share them with us. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Angie.
All right, viewers, that will be the end of today's episode of Africans Abroad. Catch us same time and subscribe to the channel, share our content and like, and hit that notification bell for more updates. This is Africans Abroad, the first very episode. Join us for more. My name is Angela Deladem Kufo, your host for the program. Do have a nice day.